The Conviction record came about with me spending some time with my producer and one of my best friends, Derrick Hodge. And we have played in Terrence's band forever, for a long time. And we were just talking, and we were just kind of talking about each other, and he says, you know what, I kind of see a change in you. I see you living your life differently, and you're playing and living with more conviction. And that word just kept coming up and coming up. And I said, you know what, man, maybe that's what I should call the record, Conviction. And then so we started working with that in the concept of how it would be reflected in the music and how it would be reflected in the message. So we spent a good amount of time just thinking about that and meditating on that. And so one of the things, the first thing that you hear is a prayer that I say every time that I play. Right before I pick up my sticks, it's actually written on my sticks. The prayer is written on my sticks. So every time I pick up the sticks, I have a certain perspective on what I'm doing. That what I'm doing is bigger than whatever this is, that I'm approaching. The prayer is bigger than the sticks, it's bigger than the obstacles, it's bigger than anything, so I can become one. So the prayer is about becoming the instrument, right? So you're no longer dealing with the actual that drum heads and the shells and all of that. It's like you're trying to bring your message across through the instrument. And so that's what I think conviction is. And of all the greats that I love, from Dexter Gordon to, Sonny Rollins, Louis Armstrong, Charlie Parker, all of those people, I think they became one with their instruments, and you can hear their life in their playing. And to me, that's a certain part of conviction that's kind of hard to get to, because then you realize that you have to be more courageous than anything. And that word of courage started coming up a lot too, because it takes a lot of courage to do what you do and not revert back to what you know. So I tried to roll with that. And in the spoken word, the prayer is the first thing you hear. And then at the end of the record, you hear Bruce Lee. And I thought that Bruce Lee was a person that was on earth that was here to help us to fuse styles together, to help us to see excellence in one way, excellence in how you take care of your body, and in martial arts, how you can bring them together all as in one thing. And when I think of all the great jazz musicians, when I think of Roy Haynes, that's what I think of too. He brought all of these things together, from playing with Louis Armstrong all the way up to these young guys now, Matheny. Well, Matheny's not a young guy, but all the way through the history of jazz, all the way to playing with Jaleel Shaw and the younger guys now. I felt that somebody like Roy was akin to Bruce Lee, and so I'm trying to get to that essence of how can I better translate the message of being water. Water can be inside of a cup, or it can be inside of a jar. It takes its shape from wherever it is, and that's what I think we all should do in our lives, is to adapt to the moment. And that's what jazz is about. It's adapting yourself into that moment, wherever it is, wherever you're poured. You got to be there and be completely aware of what's going on. So the conviction theme came out of all of those things together, and the spoken word is kind of, the worded representation of the message. The thing that really influences me in our iPod culture, we move from track to track, from place to place, from Instagram, from picture to picture. I wanted to create a work of art that was like some of the Clifford Brown records that I listened to. where you listen to the whole side and then you turn it over, listen to the whole side and then turn it over again and keep turning it over, you know. I wanted to create that with my CD in a way that it was one whole piece of art. So if you notice, there not only are the tracks together, but there's no space. So you feel like you're on this journey and it continues. And I wanted that to represent all the sides of conviction. All the themes, they belong together. You know, the theme of courage and equality, you know what I mean? All of those things are subjects that I thought belong together, and musically I wrote them as such. So I just wanted to take time and just make a record that felt like a record. And hopefully at the end of it, you'll turn it on again. You know, that was my hope, to see, you know, how can I make people feel this message and want to listen to it over and over again. What's up, I'm Kendrick Scott. For more videos, make sure you go to jazztimes.com. No other place, just there.